Welcome to the Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by the funny Womacs and Friends. If you're looking to get more out of your Shenandoah Valley experience, then this is the podcast for you. You'll meet interesting people, musicians, and comedians that perform here and find out more about what you can do and see. Whether you live here or plan to visit, listen to explore what makes our unique slice of heaven. Now here's your host, Don Davis Womack.
Hello, Laughers. Thank you for tuning in today. We are going for a fun ride and evolution process on this podcast, and we want to thank you for joining us. We're leaning even more into the stories of creativity, risk-taking, and what it really takes to build something bold and meaningful. And today's guest is no exception. I'm excited to welcome back Laura Thompson, who you may remember was on an earlier episode, number 77, when we were audio only. Then she was transitioning from a full-time job into a full-time art and consulting business. Since then, her journey has soared. She now teaches art classes, runs business workshops for creatives, paints vibrant large-scale murals, and just recently moved into her brand new studio that she and her dad built themselves right here in her backyard, which is where we are today. Laura is an American mixed media and collage artist based here in Virginia. She is also the founder of Real Creative Studio and a total inspiration when it comes to building a creative life that is joyful, sustainable, and full of color. Welcome back to the show, Laura. It's great to have you on today.
Thank you, Dawn. I am so happy to be here.
I am too. This is my first peek inside the studio. Still in process, still building.
Oh, yes.
But it has to feel pretty good to be in here.
Yeah, it is officially about 3 times the size of my other studio. That was just a little bedroom in my house. And so it is tall ceilings, lots of beautiful light, as the viewers can see who are watching.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm so excited about it.
I am excited to get into it and find out how much has happened since we last spoke with you. So we have a handful of questions for you today and then a fun game designed just for you.
I cannot wait.
Before we get out of here. So we're going to have a good time today. But before we get started, real quick, Laughers, we have a free audiobook available for you from Audible when you click the link in the show notes. So that way you can listen to somebody else besides me between episodes. Diversification of your audio pleasure. So I want to get into some questions here with you. You have done so much since we last talked. What inspired you to branch out and do more teaching and mentoring of other artists?
So over the past few years, I have learned a ton about what it takes to be a successful art business. And as I talk to other artists who maybe want to be on that journey, or maybe are in the beginning stages, or maybe even farther along, there's a huge deficit in the access to resources, especially locally here in the Valley. I have, I've done a lot of different programs and a lot of research. And so just with my teaching background, I realized that I have a gift for distilling information in a way that is a little bit more bite-sized for people, and kind of understanding what is more important in building the foundation for something. So, I'm still in the beginning stages too, but it's, having been so recently completely new to this, I have a really good grasp on. I threw a lot of spaghetti at a lot of walls, and I understand a little bit better about what really matters. And it's really easy to get distracted by shiny objects.
Yes. Creatives, we have a problem with that. I share this same issue.
Yes. And just getting excited. Well, maybe I'm going to do this, or maybe I'm going to do this.
It all sounds so exciting.
It is. If you get any attention for a certain thing, it's easy to be like, oh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the thing I should be doing. And so, but realizing that there's just a few things you just need to have as a foundation before you even really put yourself out there that will help so much. So that's kind of where it came from. Just talking to other artists and realizing that they don't have they don't have those resources. And I like to share knowledge. And so for me, it was just sort of a natural step.
Yeah. I have so many questions in that. I think more importantly, or what I'd like to know right now is, what would you say is the primary piece of that foundation?
Well, the thing that I start with in my course that I've created called The Business of Art, the first steps in making your art your livelihood, is you need a business mindset. It's really easy as an artist to have your craft and do everything for your craft and be more focused on that. But when you turn it into a business, you really need to start thinking about where those two things can converge, because business and art can be two very different things, and often are, which is why it's so difficult for creatives a lot of the time. But there is overlap, and so just starting to kind of think about your art as a business, and knowing, things like keeping your finances separate. It's a simple step like that, or thinking of things as investments rather than like, I'm just buying something, because an investment implies that you're going to get a return on investment if it's a good investment. And so instead of just being like, well, I just bought a bunch of stuff and I'm not going to use it, it's like, well, what am I investing in? And just those little sort of shifts in mindset can make a huge difference. But also just kind of like understanding the basics of, like, what does it take if I want to get my stuff into a gallery? Like, what do I need? You need an artist statement. You need a bio. How do I write that? So there's like foundational documents that are really helpful, but also just foundational like mindset about, yes, you're an artist, but if you want to sell your art and make money from your art, you also need to be a business person, and at least to some extent. And if you have none of that, it's going to make your life a lot more complicated
and frustrating.
If you're trying to make money from it. If you're not, that's great. And you don't need to. If you don't want to.
It's a personal choice.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to just make art and that's what you want to do in your spare time, then probably your income is coming from elsewhere. But if you want to make income from your art, then these are the things you need to think about.
Yeah, that is so fascinating. In the comedy business, we need something similar, and they call it a press kit or an electronic press kit. So then that would have your headshot, your bio, a short video of, a couple of different things. Things change in industry. They like to see 5 to 10 minutes continuous, at least initially.
Sure.
And there is a little bit of a highlight reel trend going on right now, but the bottom line is the people that want to hire you want to know that you can do stand-up comedy.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we call it a press kit. What is that called in the artist world? Is it called
It would be a portfolio.
Yeah.
Okay. So like making, and that's, something I cover in my course is how do you make a portfolio? What should be included in a portfolio?
How much should be in the portfolio?
Right. And also to understand that as you evolve as an artist, your portfolio will evolve. So it shouldn't be a static document. It should be something that as you create more and more art that you should, make sure that you're updating it and making sure that it is like putting your best foot forward. Obviously, you would do the same thing if you were performing and recording your performances. You'd be like, okay, well, that was way better than what I had, so I'm going to put that in my press kit, right? So, but I think that it's one of those things that I think a lot of artists are like, good, I did it, and then it's done, and then 4 years later, you're like, oh, I have the same stuff in my portfolio. Well, hopefully you made something different in that time, and you probably should put that in there.
Yeah, because you're, in any art, if you're working on it, you're going to evolve and get better and have more to showcase that highlights what you can do even better. So, we have to do that. And for us, our headshots can change over time.
Yes.
Different haircuts, age, that type, weight, even for some people.
Yeah. It should look like you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you're a 40-year-old comedian, but sending in your college picture, probably not a good idea.
Right. Yes.
You know, where are they getting these ideas from? Those dating apps? I don't even know how those work.
Facebook profile pics.
Okay, yeah.
This is the last time I looked good. It was high school.
Now you got me snort laughing over here. And if you just noticed a few minutes ago that we were both kind of looking off to our right and kind of giggling, that's because her dad was out there getting ready to barrel in here as if no one was in here. And then he, at the last minute at the door, realized
that he couldn't come in.
He couldn't come in. Then he smiled at us and walked away.
Yes.
And that had us both tickled.
Yes, and as Dawn said, this building is very much still a work in progress. So we're in the middle of things, but this side of the room looks amazing. So
so
for
that's
those of
why
you watching, you can see how great this side of the room looks right now,
and the direction that she's headed in here.
Yes,
I'm excited about that. Do you talk to Barbara Kemp at all from Oasis about this art and business workshops that you do?
I haven't yet. When I did my first cohort, I just sort of sent out an email to a bunch of different artist lists that are sort of in the community. So I don't know. I should, though. For sure.
Just wanted to bring that up, Laughers. If you have been following this podcast, you will have noticed in the not too recent past, we did do a podcast interview at Oasis.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And Barbara was one of our guests, and she has an incredible background on how she figured out how to run art business while she was overseas.
Oh, very cool.
And I think the two of you could have a very great conversation about all of this, and maybe even collab, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting that out there. See, we're creating right now.
Yes. Collaboration is super important.
Yeah.
We should all be lifting each other up for sure.
Right. We have a lot that each of us can share, and no one knows everything.
No.
The minute they say they know everything, run.
Yeah, run. They're wrong. They probably know even less than the average bear in that case, I would say.
Yeah. We don't even have to fact check that. So.
Wait, there's fact checking on this? I'll try to keep it clean.
You're doing great already. So now let's talk about this new studio. What is it like to work in this space? And tell me a little bit about how long of a process this has been for you. And did the project plans evolve over time, or did you have a project you're like, nope, that's what I want my studio to be. It's going to have this, this, and this. Talk to us more about that.
Oh, so I guess I want to say I started noodling, I guess. I knew I needed a new studio a while ago. My other studio was just basically packed to the gills, and it was when I was in the middle of making stuff, I had barely enough room to maneuver around the room, around my tables, and it was just really difficult to do my job. So I started thinking about what that would look like. Are there places downtown? Where could I find studio space? And frankly, there is not studio space downtown. There is office space, but I'm not in a position to spend thousands of dollars on rent. I am not a lawyer, so I'm not making that money, easily every month to cover that kind of overhead. So, we thought about, is there a place in the house that we could? No, our house is packed. We've got 3 teenagers right now, and that's it. Busy. Yes, there's a lot going on. Could we attach it to the house? No. So then it became, I talked to, actually it was a local builder, and they were like, have you ever thought about, which is funny for them to say, because usually they want the business, but he said, have you ever talked to a shed company? And I was like, no. So I reached out to one of those and then talked to them, and then I was like, okay, maybe I do need to do it this way. And then I started talking to my dad, and I was like, well, this is a design that I kind of like. It's called a modern studio, was actually the name of the style of building. It has a slant roof, and it has a really tall front and a shorter back wall. And my dad is 80 now. He was 70.
He looks great, by the way.
Yeah, he was, 78 when he started this process.
Okay.
But he was like, I think I could do that. and I know he's done a lot of home renovation projects, but he's never built an actual building. But he's overseen a lot of stuff, and
he's handy.
He's really good at stuff, and he's got the energy, and he is just, I was like, okay, like, let's try to figure this out. So he learned this project this product called SketchUp, which is like a software that a lot of woodworkers and people, contractors, I guess, use to design buildings and furniture and things. And he's really interested in woodworking. So he's the one who he learned this software. My 80-year-old dad, he's amazing. He learned the software so that he could design the building, so that we could build this building together. And he doesn't even live here. He lives in Rochester. So he comes down and stays for like weeks at a time. And I think last August is when we actually had a bunch of concrete in the backyard. So we had to tear all that out. And then it was like pouring the footers and doing the whole, platform. And I've been here every step of the way. I've had all sorts of aches and pains. He's in better shape than I am. It's really crazy.
Need to get on his program.
But I did all of the insulation that's in the ceiling. Like
it looks great.
It's just been a labor of love for the past. I guess we started in September, and now it is June. So yeah, and couple more weeks, couple more little projects here and there, and hopefully it'll be completely done. I'm sure it'll evolve, but it's been a while. It's been a process, but it's been so fun to work with Dad. Like, I'm so much like him. Kind of drives my husband insane, but he's a great supporter of.
Clearly, if he's going to drive down from Rochester, New York, I'm assuming he's driving, or does he fly, or both?
He's driving. He has to bring all of his tools with him. So he packs his car, full and makes the trip down. And he's done it, I don't even know how many, 7 times, going back and forth. And he's a powerhouse. I don't know. I've learned so much, and I'm just so grateful for him. And also a couple of my friends here who have just chipped in, their knowledge and know-how. And so it's been really rewarding and just a really great experience. And I just can't wait to share it with other people, because it's a really great space. And I don't know. I just want people in here to enjoy it with me.
Yeah, I think you're going to have an art opening or something.
Yes. So on June 28th, I am having an open studio, sort of a studio opening reception here from 4 to 8 p.m. And I can share the information with you about that. But basically, you can just stop in and see the space and take a look at my artwork. And there's going to be little giveaway things and food. And then later in the evening, there's going to be a silent disco, just because I'm using it as an excuse to have a silent disco.
I love it. And if they miss that, let's say they listen to this podcast June 28th this past, they'll still be able to come to the studio, right?
Yeah, I think so. I live in the Sunset Heights neighborhood of Harrisonburg, and there are lots of artists here and in the neighborhood. Oddly enough, we have I could probably rattle off 5 people's names just
Is there
within
a Facebook group or
there
something?
There isn't yet, but I'm thinking that we start creating like an open studio tour of Harrisonburg, because places like Charlottesville have them, and but like Charlottesville's kind of far to go if you're not already there. So that would be something that I would love to talk to the Arts Council about, maybe doing, just a designated day where it's like, if you're an artist who has a studio, like, you can register, and then people can go around from studio to studio and see your work. But I'm also going to be teaching like one-to-one classes, or very small group classes for maybe like homeschool groups or something, 2 to 4 people max
in this
space, or just individual art lessons. So if people are interested and they want to be in a legit art studio and learn from me, then that'll be a possibility as well.
I love that. Now, what were a couple of the I must-haves in this studio?
Well, you can't see it in this view. There is a wall of cabinets that my dad actually just brought down on this past trip. And it's like a 3-section cabinet, and the middle section has large flat trays, because I primarily work in collage, and I paint backgrounds and then I apply collage pieces. And when you're doing that, you end up with just little collage pieces everywhere. And in my old studio, they would just be piled on top of each other, and I wouldn't be able to see. I kind of had a sense for where things might be if I lifted up this 18 pieces over here. But this allows me to have my work sort of spread out. And then if I'm teaching a class, I can just slide that little tray back into the cabinet and it goes away, but it's still in process. So it still works with that was the whole thing. Was my dad was like, what do you need for your process? And was like, well, I need more surface area because it gets crazy. And so that was one of the things that I requested was like sort of removable trays where I could just have my work. I could still work within them when they're out, and then I just slide them away and they go away, and then they're there for when I need them again. So that was huge. And then a few little plants. I really wanted to have plants in here. I've just learned in the past couple of years how to not kill them right away. So that's been
I need to get the notes.
It's a personal journey. Bottom watering is like my biggest tip, because then they just suck up the water they need and you don't drown them.
Yeah.
And then just like blank wall space so that I can display my art and also other people's art, because yes, I have art, but I like looking at other people's art more.
Really?
Well, you know how like when somebody cooks for you, it tastes better. That's what art is for me. It's like, I know every ingredient that went into the art piece. So it's like, okay, sure, it's a grilled cheese, but like when it's somebody else's art, it's like a really good grilled cheese. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And as you were talking, I was thinking about what comics will a lot of times talk about. We need to watch our video after a performance. Or listen to ourselves. We watch a video, we're going to listen to ourselves. But the point is, there's a lot of discussion about how we pretty much don't like to do that.
Yeah.
But we need to do that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and you know, and there may be some people who love it, but I know a lot that are like, it's not my favorite to listen back to myself and watch myself, but I do it to develop in the craft. It feels a little bit like that.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like, you know how the sausage was made. It's your sausage, and you're like,
and it's like, I want to present this to the world, but like, I'm good.
I feel good about it, and now I'm good.
Yeah, and now it's for someone else.
I love that so much. She was just showing me before we recorded and while we were setting up what she's talking about with those trays that'll come out. They're pretty sizable. They remind me, if you're working on a big jigsaw puzzle, it would look like a big tray like that.
Yes. And that's essentially what I'm doing. I just don't know what the picture looks like at the end. That's the only difference, really.
Is that your process? Do you start with, I like these colors, so I'll put that on a canvas, and then I'll add my little magazine pieces? Because you get vintage magazines, and you'll cut the people and the nature and the animals and birds out of those old magazines, and then you'll put that on a canvas that you've just painted. Yeah,
I have no...
It's really cool, Laughers. Yeah. You'll have to check out her website to see what I mean.
I have no idea what any of I don't have a real plan when I go into my painting process. I've done a series of like floral paintings that then I apply the pieces to. So in that case, I usually have a reference photo that I'm working from, but for the most part, I don't know what the background color is going to be until it gets on the canvas. And then once a background is done with whatever it is that I consider done, then at that point I start pulling out my collage pieces and just seeing, because sometimes like color will be a driver for what ends up working. So if I'm using, a teal color scheme in the background, then using like red maybe won't work. And so then it's trying to find the right colors that have the right tones, and within that also the right characters and the right, directions that they're looking, because a lot of it is about like the way that the gaze of all the different characters like moves your eye around and all their different little interactions. So so it's there's little plan to it. It's a fun process because I don't know what it's going to look like when it's done either.
Until it is.
Until I giggle and I'm like, yeah, that's probably it. Yeah. So.
That makes you happy, gave you joy, so that feels good.
Yeah.
Now, this American mixed artist work that you do, that's what it's called, American mixed media art?
Mixed media collage is what I call it, because it's collage, but not just collage.
That's right.
That makes sense. There's a lot of the painting part that's really pretty critical to the process, but yeah.
I would say, for me personally, you are the only person that I know that does this kind of art form, but I'm also not in the artist world. So I don't know how prevalent this art form is or isn't. Are there other mixed media artists out there that do along the lines of what you do?
So I've looked. So one of the parts of art business is your pricing, which is, the part of any business that you're selling a thing.
Gets interesting first. And if you're a business person, you know.
Yes. And one of the biggest or, most prominent pieces of advice is to look at other artists who do similar work and then use that as sort of a gauge, like what are other artists charging?
So what's the fair price? So you're not going way over or way under and shortchanging yourself. I get it. Yeah.
Right. So, but the problem I've had is that I've not
found another person that does.
Not really.
Not the way you do. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Or
not
at least
the way
similar or some kind of.
Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah. Sometimes it's just like, do they use paint and collage, which is very different from the way that I use paint and collage, but it's like the same medium. I don't know. Like everything, it's subjective no matter what. But I haven't seen, I hear it a lot when I'm at my festivals and markets, like, oh, I've never seen anything like this. So that's one of the things that's kept me going, is it's like, well, if people keep saying that, if other people haven't seen this before, then there's got to be something to it. So I'm not the only one.
I think so. I've purchased your art. It's in my home office.
Yeah, thank you.
I come to I've been to a few of your shows.
Yes, you certainly have.
To support what you're doing, because I think it's so unique.
Yes. And please, if you are somebody who's never been to an art opening, please go. As an artist, it's like your art's birthday, and it's like, if people don't come to your art's birthday, it feels like kind of how, like, oh, why am I doing this? Or, I think art openings can be kind of intimidating for some people, but, if you think about it, just think about it like that. Like, oh, I'm going to an art birthday party. This art is new. It's been birthed. And the person who birthed it is there too, and you can talk to them.
Yeah, and there are people there, and they're lovely, and it can look different ways. I've been to some where the, food and cocktails are provided, or the Pale Fire Brewing will do art openings. You can order off the menu, basically. Yeah. So it's done different ways, but it is fun.
It is, and it really helps the artist to feel like, we do our work. Many of us do our work for other people. As I was saying, I'm not trying to keep all this stuff in my house. I want other people's art in my house.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I don't have enough walls. But it is something where it's like, even if it's not your cup of tea necessarily, like that particular kind of art, you can learn so much by just talking to artists about why they do what they do and how they do it. And, it's really helpful. So of course, I'm always an advocate for all artists, more artists, art everywhere. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious when you figured out this was your style. Were you in elementary school, high school, college? When did the birthing of your particular art form with the mixed media and collage happen? Or did it evolve? Sort of?
What's kind of funny to me is that I didn't start, I kind of stumbled upon it, and it was right after I guess it was mid-pandemic. I had switched careers and was in a different job and didn't really make art for a couple of years. And before that, I was doing oil paintings, but my oil paintings still had some humor to them. They were, I did a series called Still Life with Children that was just like sort of children's toys in like kind of these like grandiose still life type of settings. So they looked like very serious, but the subject was not serious. And to me, that's funny, I guess. Because it was just sort of an ode to parenthood. And so the humor was something that evolved first. What I realized I really kind of sometimes dark humor. And then I was painting a background. I was just trying to like get back into art and do it again because it had been a while, and painted this background. And I was like, well, this is, kind of boring. What do I do to make it more interesting? And I had some of the collage pieces cut out for like a sketchbook, just to try to get myself to make art again. And so I had them just cut, and I just started laying them on the painting. And I was like, oh, like this is really cool. And so it just sort of drove itself. At that point, it was like, I need more of these. I need more magazines. Where do I get those? And it just kind of snowballed from there. I just kind of got obsessed with this process. The magazines are generally the 1940s to 70s. I can find them at thrift stores or antique malls. Now people are like, yeah, a lot of people ask that question.
Where do you get them?
Yeah. But at this point too, like if somebody finds on like Facebook Marketplace, they'll be like, somebody's got a stash of old magazines. They'll send it to me.
Wow.
Like I have like spies out in the community telling me when there's more magazines available. And so, yeah. And it's, even if I don't use them myself for my work, if they don't work or I'm not finding the things that I want to, because I teach classes and I do workshops every once in a while, I just keep those magazines around for those. And, you never know. I mean, other people will find things in magazines that work for them that don't work for me. And yeah, so that's kind of how it evolved. It's only 4 years old, this style.
Wow.
Yeah, but I've made a lot of things, and I have lots of plans for more things. So I'm excited.
I'm excited for you. Do some really incredible things now that you were not doing the last time that we interviewed you on this podcast. One of them is Laughers. She does these gigantic murals that will cover the side of a building.
Yes.
And you have one. Your first one is Mod. What is the name of that place?
Mod Displays.
That's right. Mod Displays, which is basically across from 3 Notched on 33 in downtown.
Yeah.
And that was your first one.
Yeah. Yes. I like to go big or go home. And
it is big.
Decided that for my first ever exterior mural that I would choose a 1,000 square foot side of a building. Because again, I mean, what are you even doing if you're not doing it gigantically, I guess? I don't know. It's maybe to counteract the tiny collage pieces. I felt like I needed to go really big. Yeah, so I do that pretty regularly now. It's become a main income source for my business, and I have just finished one and am working on one, and I have one lined up for after that, and then I am doing sketches for another one at the moment. So I call this mural season. It's like as soon as the weather turns nice, everybody reaches out at the same time. So if you're thinking about a mural, I suggest maybe reaching out in like January would be
really
great.
That would be helpful to
January,
you.
February would be great. I mean, just because like if you're thinking about it, we can always, I can always paint it when the weather's nice. If it's an interior mural, that's very different. I can do that pretty much any time of year. But exterior murals, yeah, I can only do, I only have so many hours in the day.
I know, all of us, right? So what does that process look like? They find out you do a mural. They call up. Do they have a specific idea? Do you have to help them figure out what they want? Do they say, we just want it, whatever you want to do will be great with us?
Oh, that's very few and far between.
Okay.
But it depends. It depends on who the customer is. You know, sometimes, you know, if it's like a school, they might have, you know, a specific
image in mind.
Image or theme or whatever.
Yeah.
The one that I'm currently working on it was just a big blank wall next to an event center. And because they host events and weddings and things, it just was like kind of an eyesore. It's actually an old manure pit.
That would be an eyesore.
Yeah. So it's not, it's not used anymore, but it's like this big cylindrical 10-foot wall that's maybe, I don't know, 70 to 80 feet across. And so it just, you know, it's like, it was literally a blank canvas. It just needed to look nicer. And so, so in that case, the client had some ideas, but, you know, really kind of said, you know, I want this, this, and this. And then, you know, how do you put that together? And then I went back and
you draw a sketch and kind of show them what your idea is. And then they say, oh, that looks great. And you go for it. Or can we tweak it this way? Blah, blah, blah.
Can we add this? Can we take this off? It's very similar to like, I don't know, like a graphic design sort of job where it's like they may have an idea, they may not. You know, it's client by client how much they want from your artwork, I guess, and then how much they kind of have something in mind. I love painting murals. Interior ones are obviously a little bit just easier on the generally on the body, and because you're not in like the elements and you don't have weather to contend with. But I also am all about like somebody just giving me a picture and being like, I want this on my wall, because my creativity, yes, I can design murals, and yes, I will, and I do enjoy it, but I use a lot of my creativity in my studio and for my mixed media artwork, and so I'm just as happy. You know, I think there's some mural artists who are like, I want it to be my work, and I'm like, I'm just happy to be slinging paint at a wall. I mean, frankly, like any day I am standing in front of a wall and painting is a day I am not in a cubicle in front of a computer, like going through drudgery and like really just hating every hour. So I don't know. And to step back and see the result, it's very satisfying, and it really does enhance our community. So and businesses, you know, too. So I don't know. I want to paint more murals. I would love for them not all to come at the same time. But again, it's
like to space those out.
Yeah.
Space
That's the
them
dream.
out, laughers. I
dream. But I will handle as much as I can handle, and and I have to remember there has never been a mural emergency.
That's true.
I have to think about things like that sometimes. Any of the things. I am not a heart surgeon. I am not. Nobody is going to like live or die by the business. If
their
opportunities
canvas waits a day, it will be okay.
Yeah. So that helps. I do feel like that helps manage the stress.
I would imagine so. What would you say is the average time one would spend on 1,000 foot? Let's just use the first one as an example.
Yeah.
As how much time on average does it take to paint a mural that size?
It's so hard to tell, because that mural, my first mural, I didn't paint the entire surface. So the characters and like the structure that they're on, like there's a lot of exposed bricks still. So I didn't cover the full surface, but the characters that I did paint are pretty realistic. Like the duck, there's a mama duck and a couple of ducklings, and they're very realistic. And that took
a long
while.
time. Yeah.
So I'm learning as I go sort of how to get the biggest bang for my client's buck, if that makes sense. So the larger the mural is, the less detail you necessarily need to have, or just depends. Like, what is your budget? If you have no budget, call me, please. If there's nothing stopping you, then like, let's figure something out. But a lot of times people have like, okay, well, I can spend up to this much. Okay, well then how do we, like every industry, it's like, oh, well, how do we work together? How do we design something that you're happy with, that has the visual appeal that you want, that is also, efficient for me to do? I don't need to be doing things hyper realistically if you're not going to be seeing them from up close, right? Like, because things will, you're going to lose detail the farther away you get. So if everybody who sees this is always going to be at least 50 to 100 feet away, then you can get a lot of, you can communicate a lot visually without having to spend, too much time creating minute details that nobody's going to see anyway, or appreciate, because they won't be up close to it. So it really, I think it was like 200, it was over 200 hours on the mod mural.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a few full weeks for sure.
Yeah. It was 7 weeks was the span of that amount of hours. Because, I also have other things in my life. I can't be there 24 hours a day.
You do?
Gotta sleep,
Maybe eat.
Yeah, maybe eat. Well,
maybe relax.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like this time of year. So this one that I'm working on is like, I try to get out there by 9 if I can, which is, these days I just cannot get myself out of the house. I used to have to go to work at 7:20 in the morning, and I'm like, I don't know how I made it. Like, I need my coffee, and I need to settle for a second, and then I'm like, okay, I can get to the site by like 8:30.
Grind.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
9:30, I'm ready.
Yeah. And once I'm working, man, I'm out there. But I mean, right now it's really hot, so I can work till usually like 1 or 2, and then it's like I'm melting and the paint dries. Like the paint will dry too fast on the brush. So your brush starts getting cakey and then, so it's like there's technical difficulties that are involved.
If you stay too long.
When it's really hot out, really sunny, or both. And also like forgetting to reapply sunscreen, all those things. Yeah.
What's an ideal temp if you're doing a wall mural outside? What's your perfect weather conditions when you're working outside?
If it was, I would say 80 degrees in the shade.
Ooh.
It's like with a nice little breeze. That will never happen, because where are you going to be working in the shade on a mural? But like if I
on a brick building usually.
Yeah. Well, the mod. So the mod, I got really lucky with mod because the sun came up from behind the building. So I actually got to work until like about at least 1 before the sun was like creeping over the edge of the building. So I got really lucky in that respect. And so I actually did have a lot of shade to work in. But yeah, once the sun starts hitting a brick wall, it gets pretty warm. So yeah. And everything, again, like your paint dries too fast, it just becomes problematic. So yeah.
I remember talking to you about when you were doing the first wall mural for mod, and it felt understandably somewhat intimidating. I would be completely intimidated, and no one wants to pay me anything to paint anybody mural. That would be a comedy mural.
Yeah. Well, it's
of the worst kind.
I mean, I would love to do more funny murals, but that's not typically what people are looking for. But
yeah, it's intimidating, but is it now?
What's funny about it is murals are just, it sounds so simplified, but like murals are just bigger paintings.
Okay.
So yes, sometimes they require additional equipment, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's just, I like process oriented things. And so for me, it was for that one, it was like, I started up in the corner. I was working on the dogwood flowers, and then I was working on the chicken, and then I was working, so like each of the steps of the way was a little accomplishment. And I think that that's really helpful with murals. Often it's kind of like that because there's lots of different components. And so you're like, okay, today I'm working on this. And then when you kind of break it down like that, it's not as intimidating. I don't know. I mean, it's still big, but I don't know. I also just like the fact that I'm like a fairly small person, and people are always a little surprised that I can make something real big.
Yeah. She got cranes going out there and different things like that.
Yeah. A lot of ladder time.
Ladder time. Do you have to rent those? Do you own those?
I just bought myself a fancy ladder that it's like the adjustable kind. It's called a Little Giant. They should sponsor me.
There you
But they
go,
have,
Little Giant.
yeah,
Listen
now
up.
you know. But it has like two telescoping legs, so you can actually level. It's like a leveling.
Oh,
because
neat.
that's really hard. I'm working out in a field right now against this building, and so I've almost broken my ankle like 10 times walking.
Let's be careful,
Yeah,
Laura.
I'm really trying not to.
Okay.
There's like kind of divots, and so yeah, it's just so much easier to have something where I'm not trying to like stack up like random pieces of wood or rocks. It's just not safe. So yeah, so I got myself a fancy ladder. You know, it's those little things that really keep you going.
Yeah. So you're making an investment in your business.
It's an investment in my business. Yeah. Yeah.
I like the way you said that too. We just bought a couple of new speakers because of our opportunities that are coming, and you look at one of them around $700, and you get two of them, and you're a small business. You're like,
Yeah.
But it was a wise decision.
Right.
It was an investment decision.
It was an investment. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you can, how much is the struggle worth is really what it
Right.
comes down to, if
Right.
I'm having trouble, leveling my ladder, which is a safety concern, is this under $200 ladder worth it? Yes, it is.
Yeah. And you can always upgrade as you evolve.
Yes, exactly. And there's always
Yeah.
somebody coming behind,
Yeah.
who's like a little earlier in their journey, who you can either give if you're
Or
in
they
a
can
position
borrow
to,
it.
or they can borrow it, or you can sell it to them, or you can just gift it. I just updated my festival tent and plan to give my old setup to another, a younger artist who went through my class, and so she can, get a little bit of a leg up in her journey. So yeah.
I agree with that 100%. And it can even expand the services that you offer. So for us last week, because we got the new speakers for the new comedy club, then we have our older system, and we got a request from a church senior group that wanted to have a couple of comics come in. We were able to send two of our local comics to take care of that with the older system.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And that worked out beautifully.
Yep. Gotta, just sort of, I don't know. It's not really, it's just helping the next generation.
Yeah.
Coming up. And I feel really good about that because, I've had mentors that, I think we all have. We've all had people
I
who
have.
come-
I don't even know what I would do without the mentorship.
Yeah.
I feel very grateful for the mentorship, and I love even more. I think people have so much to offer, especially people that are ahead of you, doing whatever it is that you want to do longer. They have so much to share.
Yeah.
What's been rewarding and challenging, and if they could do it over scenarios and all of that. So
Yes.
I think
It's
that's
critical.
beautiful.
It's critical to hear that from people who you look at and you're like, oh, they've really got it figured out.
The big secret is no one has.
The biggest secret of them all. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we're all, and I mean, I think you're probably in the same place as a creative entrepreneur. Is like, my journey isn't the right way, the wrong way. It's just a way. And it's a way.
Yes.
You have to find the way that works for you. And
Yes.
not everybody wants to paint murals, and that's great because, but if somebody wants to learn how to paint murals, like, I'm happy to kind of help them because I reached out to a mural artist when I was,
When
starting,
you were doing it for the
being
first
like,
time.
I just want to make sure I'm not making any like really stupid initial mistakes, and just to kind of avoid some of those pitfalls. But yeah, I don't know. We all need each other, I guess.
We do, and we're all connected,
Yeah.
and we can together make the world a better place for sure. You also, I noticed as I was getting ready for this today, and Chris and I want to talk to you about this.
Ooh.
She does pet portraits.
I do.
I did not know that. I mean, tell us more about this.
I will. And first off, I do want to put a disclaimer out there. I only do pet portraits, not people portraits.
Okay.
Because you don't want that. I don't. I mean, whatever. I can make a human look like a human, but can I make you look like you? Maybe not. I don't know. I don't have enough practice with that, but pet portraits I feel very confident with because I don't know, because animals are adorable. I don't mind looking at them for long enough to make them look good.
I saw a picture. I saw a sample. I was like, oh, I love that puppy.
Yeah,
Is that
I
your
do.
puppy? That's
Yes, one of them. Yeah, I have I have a page on my website under commissions that has. That's where you find murals and pet portraits. But I can do them in a variety of different media, and all you need to do is provide me with a photo, and then we can talk about what if there's like a background color or something that you want, and I can make your little pet a little portrait for your wall.
I love it. So I wanted to bring that up. If somebody wanted those, I can see that being a Christmas gift idea, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's, I would imagine, probably popular.
Yeah, I'm sort of new to offering it, so I haven't been sought out quite as much for it.
I'm glad I mentioned it.
Yeah,
then, Laughers.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I could probably after September, like if if you're starting to think about Christmas gifts and that's something that you're considering, the earlier you reach out, the better always for artists, because it depends on what everyone has in their queue. So whether it's me or any other commissioned artist, there's probably people ahead of you if it's somebody who gets a lot of commissions. So just kind of consider that, and then the time that it takes to actually make it. So I would say like in any Christmas season, I might be able to do 5. Like it's not that many too, so it's like it's pretty limited. So the earlier you reach out, the better. But because I'm also like just doing all of the other things that I do and raising children and
all the other things.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I need to go grocery shopping, which is lame, but
into the gym or take a walk or maybe watch a movie.
Yeah.
Not think about the art business for a minute.
Maybe for a minute. Yeah.
We need that. We need that time to recharge. I wanted to ask, what a great idea. You can think about your in-laws. Sometimes, you've been married for a minute. You're like, what do I get them this year? I don't know. You start having those discussions. This would actually be a great idea, especially if they have pets.
Yep.
They wouldn't see that one coming, Laughers.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see all sorts of, I take my pup to a daycare here. And actually, it's Happy Hounds Doggy Daycare. And they have a mural of mine on the front of their building as well. But they take really great pictures of the dogs that are there every day, and put them on Facebook, on their Facebook page, which I like because I'm apparently a crazy dog person. We'll just look through and like or love a bunch of them. And I often think these pictures are so good. I would love for people to find their dog in one of those pictures. I mean, you don't even have to take the picture yourself.
Yeah.
If they go to that daycare, I don't know what other daycares do, but I just love that because it's fun after you're like, oh, my dog was at daycare today. And then you can see some of the best pictures of my dog have come from just the people who work there, taking a random picture. It's like the only time my dog's smiling, because usually he looks really concerned about something. There's a reason they call it Happy Hounds. Here, he's just concerned hound.
Maybe you're not a dog person. Do you do cats too, by any chance?
Yes, any pets. I actually,
some people aren't dog people, so we want to be equal opportunity.
Yes.
Purchasers here.
Well, my first customer was actually a horse portrait.
Oh, that would have been magnificent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it can be a pet from your past too. It doesn't,
Yeah, and have an old picture. That would be really great.
Yeah, if you want to just, remember all of the wonderful pets you've had.
Yeah.
Like a little.
You could do
collection.
like a little box, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the wall, like they do with kids and things like that.
It's always an option.
Listen, we're just out here giving you all kinds of ideas, Laughers. We are. Before we get into the game, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
And that is forward-looking. What's next for Laura Thompson in her art world? Okay. Right now, we've got your art classes that are going on, art openings. You do those. You're at festivals and markets to sell your mixed media art. You've also do the commissions of the wall murals and the pet portraits. looking, say, 2 to 5 years down the road, what kind of big thing maybe do you see, or just a next evolution for you? It doesn't even have to be 1,000-foot wall that you're painting for the first time.
Yeah, that's a great question. I said, I had mentioned that I updated my festival booth. I am trying to get into some more, what's the word? Higher end festivals. So what I mean by that is that they're more selective a lot of the times, or they maybe it's only originals, like you can't have reproductions or prints or things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be good for you.
So, that's something that I'm looking to do and see how that goes. It's been pretty rough out there for in 2025. 2024 was not amazing either. Just talking to other artists too.
For the festival circuit?
Yeah. A lot of people are reporting, a decrease in their sales, like people who've been doing it for like 20 years. I've only done it for a couple, so I really don't have anything to go by. I'm sort of just entering the scene, but I'm curious to see, what, if you go to where the people, like, our community is great. People can spend a little money on art, but we don't have a big pool of people who are spending thousands of dollars on one art piece in this area. From my experience, if maybe they're just not buying mine, but
you just need to find that circle for you,
right? And I think it often, you go to places like Colorado, like in Denver, or
there are some areas where it is
have to
that
go
way.
To the places where the people are who have that kind of money to spend specifically on art. So that's something that I'm exploring and interested to know, like how my work will fare in that market. So that's one of the things that I'm more curious about than anything. Like if I go for it and I find that it's kind of a bust, then like, okay, pivot. Like that's maybe not where I need to be. Maybe I need to be
tried.
Right. I need to be looking at gallery representation. Potentially, right. I'm actually going to be working with a gallery in Pittsburgh.
Oh, fun.
Starting this summer for my first gallery rep. So that's exciting.
That's fun.
I think in 2 to 5 years, I'm kind of imagining that my number of income streams will reduce because it's
you're just making more in the reduced avenue.
Right, exactly. Fewer things, like fewer branches, but
more specializations in a few areas. Gotcha.
I'm hoping to do like more like digital course stuff, and
that'd be great.
Where I can be more accessible to more people from beyond this area, because I do feel like one of my gifts is teaching. I really, when I am in front of a class, like sharing what I know, I do feel like a part of me like clicks on that doesn't get to be out all the time, and it's like, well, I have a big history in teaching
art, actually.
Yeah, teaching art. So that's really fun for me, and just trying to figure out a way to like keep it accessible for people, but also like make more regular income. I mean, again, that's what all of this is, like trying to find that balance where I don't want to be exclusive and not accessible to people around me. But I also need to figure out how to survive and thrive in ways that are going to help me to offer more to those around me. So it's this weird balance of, like, I don't need to be a famous artist. I don't need to. But I need to be an artist who can sustain a comfortable lifestyle and living. Yeah. I can't imagine going back to like a desk job. It like crushes my soul just to think about it.
Me too.
I'm determined to figure it out, because I just won't, I won't settle,
Same here. I'm just doing that with comedy.
Yeah, totally.
I joke about getting famous all the time, but
yeah,
I think I might need a few more than 182 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So if you're listening, laughers, tell all your friends.
Yes, tell all of your friends.
Well, but the YouTube is newer and we're figuring it out.
Sure.
So
yeah. Oh yeah, we're all just out here.
We're out
doing
here
our best,
chipping away. Like you are probably
Yeah.
chipping away listening to this at whatever wonderful thing you're doing. If you are chipping away at someone and you have been frustrated by that, we would love for you to comment and say to us, you are not alone.
Yes, please.
Because it feels good to know
does.
that we're in this together. So it's anything worthwhile, though, is just not going to be easy peasy.
No, there's no real overnight success.
Never.
From what I understand. So,
And that can be dangerous. How many lottery winners have we heard about that are no longer wealthy?
Yeah,
And it's
sure.
a disaster. So
yeah.
preparation meets opportunity. And I think we're getting stronger from doing this.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
We're stronger. We're better for it. Let's get into this game before we get out of here.
I can't wait.
All right. This is, before we wrap up, this game we're going to play is called Paint, Pitch, or Pass. So, Laura, I am going to give you a random topic or idea. Okay. You are going to tell me if you would paint it, which means, yes, I totally would, without a doubt.
Sure.
Will you pitch it? Which means I might, but we're going to need to do something here. It needs a spin on it. Or are you going to pass, which is a hard no, ain't ever going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Okay.
all right. The
Got it.
first one is you're going to paint, pitch, or pass on a mural of dancing chickens on a farm-to-table restaurant.
Paint.
Ooh. I'm so excited about this.
I mean, it would not be the first chicken I painted.
That's what
Oddly
I was
enough,
thinking.
I know.
On a farm-to-table restaurant.
Yeah, dancing chickens, I would do 100%. Yeah.
I think it would be funny if the chickens were the people around the table too.
Okay, like the poker dogs.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know.
You
It's
see,
like
that's
it's
what's
like
in
when
my head.
barbecue restaurants are covered in pigs. You're like, is this okay? You know, I don't know though.
And chickens eating drumsticks.
Yeah, it's a little.
That was dark humor right there.
Yeah, it's
That's
right up
not
my alley.
usually I know, not usually my go-to. See what you're doing to me right now?
Welcome to the dark side.
All right. Paint, pitch, or pass. Teaching a class called Watercolor Your Way to Better Boundaries.
That's gonna be a pitch. There's got to be. I don't know.
What does that even look like?
I don't even know if I'm qualified to teach that. Better boundaries.
I'm going to have
All
to
right.
get
Yeah,
a
that's-
counselor
It's gonna have to be
consult
a
on
pitch.
that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Well, I'm married to one, so that works.
Oh, see, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll have to ask him.
Yes. Yeah. He'll have to figure out how to pitch that.
Okay, good. All right. Paint, pitch, or pass on painting the side of a taco truck.
Oh, paint. 100%.
I figured
So
that.
fast. Oh.
I know.
Yeah.
It's got to be shorter than a wall mural that's 1,000 feet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are big taco trucks out there, but they're usually not
they're
crazy
usually
big.
smaller than a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I would do
Okay,
it.
paint that.
Yep.
All right, next one. Paint, pitch, or pass on a business course called Canvases and Cash Flow.
I'm going to pass because I hate canvas.
Well,
I don't paint on canvas.
what is this I'm looking at with your
They're
background?
wood panels.
You don't paint on canvases?
I don't paint on canvas.
With the mixed media art? I always
No.
thought, where have I been? I even have one in my office.
It's wood.
It's wood.
Yeah, it's
You're
a wood
right. It
panel.
is wood.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Get to know your artist, people.
I mean, no shade to canvas. Like other
Yeah.
people really love it, but it's too flexible for I like my surface to be solid when I'm applying the collage pieces. And I like smooth surfaces and they have like texture to them.
So where do you get these? So they're wood canvases, basically. Where do you get those?
I used to make them. I used to actually construct them myself, but I don't have time for that anymore.
So now you can purchase?
Yeah, you can purchase them from like fine art supply stores. Yeah. Or if I'm out,
It's a
like
whole
if I'm in a
different world.
city that
Yeah.
has like a really great art store, I go and invest in
I love that.
I invest in a lot of new wood panels because I get to choose the sizes and like hold them in my hands before I do it. Yeah, that's great.
What's the average cost for one that's, say, 11 by 17 or 12 by 24? For a blank wood.
Yeah, blank wood canvas. I would say probably an 11 by 14 would be a pretty standard size. I want to say like $15 to $20.
Okay, it's not horrible.
It's not horrible. You can definitely get canvases for cheaper, but I'm a snob.
It actually makes your art even more unique.
It does. I mean, yeah. I actually started painting the edges, like contrasting colors.
Oh, yeah. I have noticed that. I like that.
Not that you can't do that on a canvas, but it is a little different on wood. So
yeah. That's true. Yeah. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's the last one.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're going to paint, pitch, or pass on designing a creative retreat for artists in the woods with no Wi-Fi.
Paint. Oh, okay. Pitch. I have to change my answer to pitch because are we talking roughing it camping or glamping?
That is an important distinction for Dawn Davis Womack.
And for Laura Thompson.
Your host camping? Here. It's got to be glamping, but usually more like the Hilton.
Yeah. No, I'm not tent camping with anyone for any reason. Those ships have sailed. But but I would do like a cabin style, like where you have in running water. No Wi-Fi, but running water. Yeah,
I would say say running water.
Yeah, then
happening.
Yes, then I would do that. Yeah, but I'm not roughing it. Not for that. No.
But if a yurt is involved,
a shower nearby and a toilet that actually isn't a hole in the ground. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, pitch on that.
Yes, it's a pitch for
That's
sure.
a pitch.
Yeah.
Well, laughers, that was our very first paint, pitch, or pass with an artist, and I thought that went really well, and you did fabulous.
That was so fun.
It was fun.
I would love thinking about what I would and wouldn't do because the further along I get, the more I'm like, I don't want to do that. And you can actually say that when you find out the things you do want to do. Because saying, they say, like saying no to something is saying yes to something else. So
that's true.
Yeah, I would rather say no to the things that, like camping. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not either. Yeah, my roughing it would be not drinking the coffee in the Hilton.
Yes.
Or I guess actually drinking the coffee.
Maybe. Yeah.
But really, I would rough it by taking the trip to Starbucks. That would be my
yeah.
roughing.
Yeah, I can't hang when it comes to unadulterated nature. No, thank you.
I'm different too. Is it refined? I suppose we can say that it is just for us
spoiled,
today.
Maybe.
That's probably a good word.
And I'm okay with it.
Americans.
Not mad about it.
Me either. I so much enjoyed that. This is really great. Now, before we get out of here, I think it's important people got to know you, what you can do for them, the kind of art you have, and they might be sitting there thinking, well, I would like to get a hold of her today, or I would like to see some of her work.
Yes.
How can the laughers see some of your work and get in touch with you on social media or otherwise?
Well, you can find all my work at www.realcreative.studio. So don't get confused. There's no com. It's .studio. You can find me on Instagram at realcreative.studio, and you can find me on Facebook at Real Creative Studio VA. So that one doesn't have a dot in it. But yeah, for the most part, those are the three places to find me. You can find classes. You can find my original works. You can find reproductions. You can find commission things if you wanted to get in touch with me for a mural or a pet portrait. Or if you just have some strange creative project that you need a creative problem solver to help you with, I love that stuff too.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite things is just solving problems. Yeah.
That'd be great. And also she has a really great newsletter. As you can imagine, she is a creative and she gets creative about her newsletters too. And so I find those fun when they pop up in my box, I'm always at least glancing and then, oh, that's more interesting. And then I'll read more about that. So that's a fun way to really see what she's doing and how she is evolving as an artist, as well as her business and all the things that she has going on. So definitely check Laura Thompson out. And thank you so much for coming on the show. I had an absolutely great time, and it's already beautiful. I can't wait to see when it's all done.
Yes. Thank you so much
studio.
for having me. It has been a pleasure. And maybe in another couple years, we'll do it again. See where we are both at. Yeah. That'll be great.
Because a lot really has happened for the both of us in the last 4 years.
Yes, for sure.
So crazy.
Yeah.
So we're big time supporters of each other, and that's why I'm so excited to come back and share this with the Laughers and share you with the Laughers, because I heart you so much. Yes, you're welcome.
Yes.
And Laughers, we want to thank you for tuning in and spending time with us today. Remember, you can get that free audiobook when you hit the link in the show notes. And to be forward with you, we are part or been accepted to the Audible Creator Program. So that does mean when you sign up for a free trial with Audible, we'll get a little kickback, but that all goes to helping the show grow so we can get more amazing content out to you, which we're super excited about. And then what else do I need to tell you? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and tell a friend if you enjoyed today's podcast, especially if they're an artist. They will totally want to get to know Laura, and you never know what kind of collab can come out of that will make this world a brighter place. So please do share this with anybody who enjoys art or your artist friends for sure. And lastly, and most importantly, thanks for tuning in, Laughers. Out of all the podcasts out there, you picked us, and we think that's pretty darn special, just like you. Until next time, keep smiling. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by the Funny Womax and Friends. We'll be dropping a new podcast every Wednesday, so check back for another uplifting episode. Come to a FWAF show or let us bring one to you. To find out more, head to thefunnywomax.com. Be sure to share this podcast with a friend, and until next time, cheers.